So if I don't show up, I'm not losing myself. I was gonna show up with a great big body, a guy about 6 feet, a big guy, and have him say, "This is my friend, I brought my friend here tonight," you know, and I was gonna do that, and then I thought, well, that's a lot of work to try and find a body protector and a friend that's gonna take an evening.
It's taking a stance that is not a I want to work this out stance. It's taking a stance of I'm going to protect myself and you better not come near me.
Yeah.
Which,
but
luckily, in my opinion, luckily you didn't do that, because that would simply show the group that you're just doing nothing but defend yourself.
Well, what if I just brought a little old lady friend too, or something, just a friend, and then if she shows up, I would have the chance to try to make peace, if there's a possibility.
If you're open to that, I would encourage you to do that as long as you feel safe doing it. That would be the key. If you feel safe going and trying to approach that situation, and that flows right into the next thing I want to talk about is, the last section of what I wrote is, what of love? Can it conquer all? And the answer was no, because love doesn't conquer anything. Love is an opening of yourself to somebody else, and whether they can receive in that fashion or not is totally up to them. And it has no reflection on you as far as what you're doing. The important person to ask is, how does Mary feel she wants to approach that? And what does it mean to Mary if you never see that person or that group ever again?
You know what? This time and place in my life, it's too much energy to deal with this whole thing, and I'd rather just not go. But I'm saying, do you guys, anybody help me? If I don't go, am I being disrespectful and not standing up for myself? That I get a chance to.
But you go to the Al-Anon for support, right? Support for yourself, and if you're not getting support from that group, then maybe a different Al-Anon group would be the one to go to.
But I did get for many years.
And that's a wonderful awareness to have. You can keep that. Things change, patterns change. So that group may have evolved into a group of different people that no longer is where you need to be supported.
That's true, because after 5 years I came back and they were in the same place. So they're obviously supporting some stuck feelings. Yeah, the whole group had that group energy of not growing and saying they're growing.
What you're probably talking about is very similar to what they describe as groupthink, where a group is together long enough and they kind of blend in with each other. They allow that to happen with their own psyche, that their perception, their truth becomes a group truth in some ways.
Thank you.
Ultimately, the person you got to ask about that, Mary, is you. Is it important to you that these people know that you will stand up for yourself, or is it important that you know that and that's enough?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure.
Because it's just me.
Not just you. It's you. Take the just out of it. Because you're awesome. Everybody's awesome. And
We're awesome.
the important person to remember here is you. And if you put yourself back into that scenario, let's assume that both are disrespectful. I'm not saying that they are. But which is more disrespectful? To subject yourself to that lack of support just to hold your boundaries? Or to say to yourself, all right, well, I might lose a little face with them, but I got to take care of me. Which one is more supportive of you?
The latter, by far right now. I'm fragile right now after my surgery, and I don't want to go and put the energy I have into them. I'm just not going.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this time.
Sure.
Thanks for helping me, because it was a good example too of all those things.
Yes. Well, let's go ahead and finish up here. So again, back, what of love? Can it conquer all? No, because that's not, if you're conquering, that's not love. That's conquering. That's a whole different emotion. Love is a powerful force of subtlety and encouragement. Which is most effective? And I could even add to, in the long run, which is most effective? To be subtle and encouraging, or work by brute force? And while you guys think about it, I'll give you my opinion. Which is that subtlety and encouragement is going to go a lot further, particularly in the long term. In the short term, there are times when you kind of have to use a little brute force sometimes. But
sorry, Spacey, of course, it'd be the first one, wouldn't it? Wouldn't we all know that?
Well,
Not
it's,
necessarily.
again, it's your,
Depends on what
it's
you're
your
doing.
perception.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, there are certain times when you
Well-
want to use a little brute force, but
Well, like last night, I would have liked, when she had her fingers right in my face, I would have liked to just punch her, you know?
that's a pretty extreme situation where, yeah, you probably, to defend yourself, you would need a little brute force.
If she would have touched me, I would have punched her.
Once you back away from that and you can kind of come at it from a more calm standpoint, then if you can flow into that love and use subtlety and encouragement with that, that's going to promote her to calm down for one. And it's also going to show her that even though she's, like I said, maybe she's not very happy about how she acted. If that's the case, and somebody were to open up to her and say, wow, you know, what I saw was really strong, you really felt strongly about this, do you want to just talk about it? A lot of times that just, the anger just drops right away and they're like, finally, somebody to listen to what I've been stewing about. Nobody really got it. Or in the case of that group, maybe they encouraged it. Maybe they
Yeah.
helped her stew.
Yeah.
And wow, just, you know, to have somebody listen. I've had sessions, whole 2-hour sessions where we don't do anything but talk. And when I first got into coaching, I thought, wow, that's not really doing much. And what I realized after having some of those sessions is a lot of time, that's what the person needs, is just somebody to be objective and listen. Not maybe even ask any questions or offer much input, but just somebody to pay attention and listen, because maybe they don't get that at home. My daughter is going to be 7 next week, and she's a phenomenal human being. She's one of my greatest teachers. My wife and my daughter are by far my greatest teachers. And both of them, but particularly my daughter for this example, is so smart. And she's a kid. And she's also a grown-up. She wants so bad to be 43, just like me. But she's only going to be 7 in a week. So she, you know, pushes up against the stops of, why do I always have to be told what to do, and, you know, all these different things. So she's doing what a kid does. And I've said for years, the problems we have are because of my wife and myself, not because of our daughter. She's just doing what kids do. She's growing up, she's testing boundaries. And really what it boils down to is inconvenience. When I feel like I'm being inconvenienced, I get a little short with her. I'm not as compassionate and as loving as I would like to be. And if I can stop that, which often I go, oh, wait a minute, is this really that important? I can't think of one time in 7 years when I've actually said, yes, this is that important and I'm going to be hard-nosed about it. And I'm not talking about safety issues like running across the street. I'm talking about normal, you know, she whines about something and I kind of do this because I don't like whining. Well, what's that really about? That's me. So if I can realize that and offer back compassion and love and say, oh, you know, honey, I'm hearing you whining. What is it that you need? How can I help with that? And I can be honest with her and say, I really don't care for the whining, but I don't have to be like this about it. I don't have to be up in arms. So in this example, for me, subtlety and compassion and love goes a lot further with my parenting than any sort of, you'll do it this way because I said so. I got that a lot from my parents. And yeah, I did it that way because they were my parents, but you know, just an explanation would have been great. And I didn't get a lot of that. And that's okay, that they did the best they could at the time with what they had. And I accept that, and I also know that that isn't the way I want to do it if I can possibly avoid it. I want to be more subtle and more supportive, which is exactly what you're looking for with this group, is support and objectivity and just saying, here's how we feel, and yet we can support you too. Maybe we feel like you did something wrong, but let's find out. Let's at least talk to Mary and see what's going on. You know, something like that would have been awesome for you, I'm guessing, right?
I've noticed in the workplace too, because I have worked with I've worked for the government and I've worked with judges and with lots of difficult people, that if you are kind to them and even if they are angry, react calmly to them, a lot of times things boil over and you can eventually work quite well with someone who you've never thought you could work that well with.
I have a friend was in a very similar situation to that. She ended up becoming the confidant of her boss because her boss, in some way, realized, oh, okay, here's somebody that doesn't react to my yelling. They don't get fearful. They don't get mad at me. They don't do anything. They just listen to me. Well, pretty soon, she's got all of the additional responsibility. The boss is coming to her for answers on questions that she doesn't go to anybody else with. She usually makes those decisions on her own without any input. It can go a long, long way.